Okay, shall we?
Is Kieran still there?
I'm still here. Shall we? I'm just thinking about all the stuff we're gonna have to cut out of this.
But it's only been 36 minutes. It's not that bad.
we said we wanted the episodes to be 25 minutes.
I know.
It's the Good Chat, a good place to have a good chat about the good place.
Nice. Welcome to the Good Chat, a good place to have a good chat about the good place. I'm Anusha Chevy.
I'm Kieran Kraft, and coming to us live through a video chat / audio chat through Facebook, it's...
From Hawaii, it's... Soly!
I love how you gave your own intro music.
Yeah. Here's hoping this will work out for you, listeners at home.
Otherwise you'll get
really
2/3 of a podcast.
Yeah. This week, we're chatting about Season 3, Episode 8, titled Don't Let the Good Life Pass You By, directed by Dean Holland, written by Andrew Law. Oh, yeah. Holy moly macaroni. This was an episode and I got my comeuppance. Let's get straight into it, people. Every week we start with our 30-second recap. And this week...
I think it's your turn.
It is my turn. So...
Yay!
Here we go. I'm ready for this because I am so on a high right now from my win that I feel like I can smash this to bits.
Your 30 seconds begins in 3 now.
There's a montage scene at the beginning of the show. It's an old man. He's picking radishes. It turns out it's Doug Forcett. Michael and Janet get to see him and talk to him about the good place. They know that he's trying to get points. Turns out his entire philosophy is flawed. Chidi and Eleanor finally end up talking about what happened and they fall in love. The demons come through and they find everyone. Janet has the most freaking kick-ass fight scene. They kill everybody, and then it happens. Oh no.
It was alright.
Come on.
It was pretty good.
I got to the important parts.
The
right.
Janet's fight scene.
Yes. And
that
me being
really,
right.
Yeah.
Guys, holy moly macaroni, I'm gonna say it again.
Yeah. I think I'm man enough to admit that yes, you were right about it being Doug Forcett.
My favourite words in the universe are Anusha, you are right.
I would, however, like to point out.
Details too.
Right. I would, however, like to point out that I think you were the one who was saying, oh, it's not about him being the best person in the world. It's about him getting the message out there. And that is completely not at all what their intention was.
But it was, because they want him to be the blueprint, right?
They want him to be exactly. They want him to be the best person. They want him to be a model that everyone else could base their life on. I mean, which I brought up, and you said, oh, no. They want, like, someone who can get the message out there, or some weird shit like that.
That is what I meant by getting the message out there, as he being like the Jesus Christ figure of this new movement.
But again, I don't think that's what they want. I think they just wanted a model that they could help other people like base their things on.
Okay, fine.
So
either way,
take notes and learn from it. And
like have a definitive like yes no answer to is this the best way to live? Because like Chidi's been helping them think of the questions, but they don't have answers. Whereas with Doug Forcett, the idea was that maybe they had answers.
Tiny technicality, I was still right.
Yes, broadly speaking, you were still right.
I actually think you were so mostly right.
Yes.
It was because
how much was Doug Forcett right? How much was Doug Forcett right? It was like 93%?
Yeah, it was like 92% or something like that.
You were that percent right.
Yes, which is fine by me.
Okay, Soly, I feel like we're talking over you because we can't fully hear you. So did you have any thoughts that you want to mention right away?
I think Anusha is really vindicated. I feel like a fool. She is a genius and somehow understands the show much better than both of us put together. I feel like you're reading their minds because you both are super lateral, crazy.
Please keep stroking my ego. It is loving it.
But I am also really glad that Kieran brought up the point that you did somehow think that Doug Forsythe would be famous on Earth, which he definitely is not.
Because like he's famous to Michael, but no one else knows who he is.
Well, okay.
We can discuss this more later.
So let's just quickly do what we want to...
Were there any bits that weren't covered in the recap?
Yeah.
Because They went to meet Doug, and like Michael and Janet very quickly realize that he does so much good for everyone else that it makes him miserable. I do feel like though that wasn't the thing that made me think about his situation, because they were like, oh, he's a happiness pump. He gives everyone else happiness at the sacrifice of his own, which I think like is an interesting thing, and that's like the philosophical idea for the episode.
Yeah.
But what made me think is like he has a crystal clear idea of what the afterlife is. He knows how the point system works, and he's working towards that, which means all of his actions are meaningless.
Yeah.
Because he's doing it to save himself.
Yeah. Is this what you're wanting to talk about?
Yeah.
Maybe, but like, yeah.
Okay, just checking, because, I
can cut this out and we can discuss it later.
Yeah, we're getting ahead of
ourselves. Were
ourselves.
there any other story bits that we think were missed in the recap?
So, cute little moment of Chidi and Jason doing Jacksonville, pool.
Yeah.
That was cute. What do you think, Soly? Anything else?
Eleanor telling Chidi what happened in the last episode.
Yeah. Which I did quickly mention,
and
but
how she feels and stuff.
Yeah. They did actually talk about how she felt, yeah.
Them deciding to go see the accountancy team, which I think is so exciting, and finally getting to the heart of everything we want, which is like, yes, fix the system.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. And that's like what the finale of the episode, the like cliffhanger of the episode was, them deciding to go to the accountant after Janet kicked all the demons' ashes.
Yeah. The extent in which Michael and Janet are like fanboying over Doug is so great.
Yeah.
I also really liked how they showed his weird quirks, like having a snail funeral.
Funeral for so many animals.
So many random animals. It was great for a snail of all things.
Were there any other story bits that we missed out? Like story point.
I don't think so, though.
Like this one was surprisingly light on story because so much of it was just learning about Doug's character.
Yeah.
And like
really getting into the heart of
really getting into him. Yeah. So it wasn't like hugely about like moving the plot forward until like that final fight scene.
Yeah.
Which was so unexpected.
Oh man.
Aloha oi, aloha oi. It's time for an ad break.
This episode was brought to you by Hawaii. Ooh, Hawaii. Crash. Quack-ah! Splash. Beaches. Aloha. Mahalo. Cacao. Seagulls.
Oh my
Hawaii.
Wow. That was...
And that was the ad.
What a generalization of Hawaii that was. I love it.
I've been here for a whole how many hours? I'm an expert now.
Of course. Isn't that how it always works? Oh my goodness. Here's what I want to talk about. How right was I, guys? Thank you very much for the applause.
Right. You were very right.
Stroke the ego. It's getting bigger and bigger. It loves the attention. Come on. Bring it to me. Bring me the love.
So
I'm really excited because this is our first vindicated crazy theory.
Exactly.
Yay!
Yes. So vindicated. Okay.
Does this give you more hope for your crazy time travel theory?
Always. Especially because they said the words alternate universe so many times. I'm like, yes, setting the scene. Everyone gets it. Just wait, you guys. They actually say alternate universe.
I still definitely think that Jason's name is not Jason.
Yeah, 100%. I totally agree with that. Okay, that wasn't actually what I wanted to talk about. It was just what I wanted to bring up because...
That was the lead-in to what you wanted to talk about.
I feel really, really good about myself right now. Okay, here's what I want to talk about. Oh, my love for Janet cannot grow anymore. I didn't think it was possible, but holy mother fucking shitballs. That woman was the kick-ass James Bond leading lady we knew she could always be, and it happened, and oh my god, I feel like just she is representing all of us superwomen right now, and it is so great.
Yes, all of us non-women, non-robot, like, ancient deities. Yep, representing all of us.
Like, everything that she did was incredible. Her ability to figure out that she has her abilities back when she touches the portal, and that...
Or even before that, like, the fact that she just knows everything about fighting, so she was able to kick their ashes.
Yeah, exactly. The fact that she was just
super
this
strong,
massive, insanely good fighter. And then on top of that, her and Jason having their little moment together because he helps her. And she's like, thanks, honey. Well, I wish she'd said that, but she doesn't. She just says, thanks, Jason.
She's taking it slow.
She's taking it slow. It's okay, guys. But also, them going into the void. I did not see that happening. But how freaking great. And wow, I did never think that we were ever going to actually see Janet's void. So this is exciting.
We might still not. Like, it might be like...
And them, like, dying at the end, we didn't say.
True.
Oh yeah, they died.
That's right.
They died in the episode, spoiler.
They might die at the end. They might
Well, no,
die.
like, I think what she says, they definitely die on Earth. She like, explicitly said that, like, you have died on Earth once we go into the void.
Oh, really? I thought it was saying
like,
that you
what?
might have that once you come into
I think it's you might not...
I don't know.
I think it's you might not survive, but you will definitely die on Earth.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Okay, I missed that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Which is very exciting because, like, it's definitely not the season finale and they're already dead on Earth. And it's like, yep, as always, doing it way before we expected to.
Yeah.
They're already dead on Earth. We're already back into the meta realm.
Yeah.
But we also know that, like, the doors, like, there is at least another door from the bad place to Earth, which means, like, they have another path back to Earth if they choose to go that route.
No, because that was Sean's door.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, like...
destroyed that now, because...
Yeah, but, like, they built one once. They could build another one.
Yeah, true.
Like, now, like, because Michael thought it wasn't possible.
Right.
But they built a door anyway.
They were able to build a door into the Earth. Yeah, okay.
I think we're getting away from Janet, though, because Janet was amazing.
Yes.
Because essentially, like, Janet, like, just being Janet is already amazing. She's a great fighter, you know.
Yeah.
She knows everything. She can kick everyone's ashes. But, like, as soon as she, like, gets in touch with the afterlife and she's like, oh, my powers are back, you realise, oh, they are travelling with a god.
Yeah.
They are travelling with someone who can manipulate reality.
Godlike, anyway. Yeah. 100%.
And it's like, oh, sweet, okay. I'm like, I'm so happy for these people now because, like, they befriended this, like, all-powerful being.
Exactly. And I love the fact that, like, Michael's like, we defeated the demons. Oh, actually. And then, like, Chidi looks at him and is like, you mean Janet? And he's like, oh, yes, Janet defeated. Janet did all of the work. I'm like, good. Don't take this away from her. This was her shining moment. I really want to know if Darcy did all of the fight scenes herself, or
well, no, they would have had
some of it would have been stunt doubled, but I feel like she would have probably given it a go.
Fight choreography is not something to, like, mess around with if you don't know what you're doing.
True.
And so, like, Darcy's a performer, so she does know somewhat of what she's doing, but, like, if she's not trained to do that, like, there's no point in, like, having to do more than
that's what I'm curious about, is whether or not she does know any of that stuff. She might have, like, trained for some of this before, right? Like, anyway, we don't know.
Yeah.
But it was just something that I was curious about, and I thought was really, really awesome.
Soly, did you have any Janet thoughts?
She looked really cool. I love that. Eleanor also thought she looked hot, because she did look hot.
Yes.
Love it.
Chidi always being like, you're constantly horny. Yeah.
Here's what I want to talk about. It's kind of a bummer. Like, Doug Forsyth, through trying to avoid an eternity of being
Can we just say...
hell,
It's Doug Forcett.
His name is Doug Forcett, not Forsyth.
Whatever. It was hard to read, and the audio cut. Whatever.
Okay, what were you saying about Doug Forsyth?
Doug Forcett, he, like,
Sorry, we were laughing. We still can't hear you.
understandable and human desire to avoid being tortured for eternity in hell just ends up living a life where he's basically torturing himself for the duration of his whole life on Earth. And it's really, really sad and, like, sort of paradoxical. Because, yeah, you're avoiding the eternity of torment, maybe, because probably knowing the point system doesn't validate it all. But, like, it means that you are not living a happy life, enjoying yourself on Earth.
Yeah.
And which I think is the whole, backbone behind why the system is broken and all that stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
This is actually, I think, why I was so adamant that, like, Doug Forcett wouldn't be the perfect person to follow. If Doug Forcett knows the way the afterlife is, he can't do things in order to protect himself. Like, because any good thing he does in order to secure his place in the good place is meaningless for the same reason that any good things that Kahani did were meaningless. So that's why I was like, oh no, he can't be, because then he's going to go to the bad place, so he's not heading for the good place anyway.
But the difference being that he doesn't actually know that that's the reality. He just has hypothesized that this is the end game, and I'm going to live my life according to these rules, which is exactly what most people do according to most religions, right?
Okay.
I believe that I'm going to either go to hell by doing these certain things, or go to heaven by abiding these certain rules.
Okay, yes, that's a very good, thought. I would, however, like to say that we explicitly find out in this episode that, he knows, he is certain about it. I mentioned last episode that, he might just have an idea of how it works, but he doesn't know for sure. And, from that point of view, I was like, okay, that is how it can maybe work. But
he's not saying that he knows.
Well, no, he is.
No, he's
not. The way
not.
he was talking in this episode, he knows. He is talking about point totals.
Yeah.
He is talking about the accountant. He knows. He believes with fundamental certainty. It's not just, here's what I think is going to happen. He's like, this is the reality of it. And that's why it doesn't work.
But he's doing it without the full knowledge that is
but this is what I'm saying.
reality.
This is what I'm saying. The only thing that he is missing is the knowledge that what he's doing is meaningless. That's the only thing he's missing out on. Right. Everything else he knows for certain.
Right.
But this is what
So what's your point?
It's not the same as him just having a belief system. It's him having a belief of how the world works as sure as gravity. It's not just here's what I think is going to happen, but no one knows for sure. It's no, this is proof. I've seen it with my own eyes.
It goes back to his intention. His intention is to maximize his points because of his belief system. It's not because he fundamentally wants everyone to be the most happy they can possibly be.
Yeah, he's not trying to be a good person for its own sake. He's not trying to be a good person because he wants the world to improve. He's being a good person because he knows for a fact that if he doesn't, he's going to burn in hell. Or, well, the bad place.
And avoid being tortured.
Yes, and I totally agree with you guys, but I also think there's a level of where there's the difference between, the gang knowing what the good place is and what the bad place is,
and
knowing from the word of the people who have been there and experienced it, compared to somebody who has not done that, who hasn't actually seen the evidence of that, right?
See, I feel like this is getting into sort of a question of scale, because I know how gravity works.
Yeah.
I can't do equations with general and special relativity to figure out exactly how gravity is going to affect a planet.
Sure.
I don't have that knowledge. But just because I'm missing, say...
The proof?
Well, no. What I'm saying is just because I'm missing 20% of how gravity works doesn't mean I can't fundamentally base my reality on knowledge that, yes, gravity is certain.
Yes, but we've proven that gravity is... It's a proof. It's not do you see what I mean?
Well, no, but
he isn't able to prove any of this.
This is what I'm saying. We have proof that we have proof that Newtonian gravity exists.
Yes.
We do not, in our world, have proof that Einsteinian gravity exists.
Okay.
But no, here's the thing.
Yeah.
I believe that Einsteinian gravity works. I don't have proof that I can't prove that in my reality, but I'm still going to operate under the assumption that is how it works. But what it is that is now a fundamental part of how I view reality. It's not I think it's this way, but we can't know for certain, because we know for certain everything has held up Einstein's theories.
Yes.
So what I'm saying is that is now fact. It's not just a thought of what might be, but who knows?
Yeah.
It's not just a belief. It is a fundamental fact in my view of reality.
Yes.
When Anusha was talking, I was a little bit this is the difference between faith and knowledge. Because she's saying that the gang have knowledge that this is how the point system works, which is why Anusha thinks it invalidates it. But Doug Forcett has absolute faith that the system works in that way, and that's why it doesn't, for her, invalidate that. Yes. I think Kieran thinks that it's more about intention. If he intends only for the points, knowledge or faith, then it doesn't count. But it might be that you're right, Anusha, and it's about, not having concrete knowledge.
Yeah.
Because you were right once, so who knows?
Well, I also just think because of the fact...
You do clearly understand them better.
Yeah, well, the only reason why I'm adamant about this is because the reason why the gang can't get into the good place is because they have foreknowledge, proof full proof that this is what the reality of the situation is. So they are going to the bad place because no matter what action they take to be good people and get good points is not going to help them anymore because they have pre-knowledge of it.
So you're saying that even in the current situation, Doug Forcett could theoretically, his actions could get him into the good place?
Yes.
Except we know that isn't true because Sean knows that he's going to the bad place.
Yes, which is why I think that the reason why this twist at the end is so important to the storyline, because then it's actually going to build up the whole reasoning behind why him just being a good person isn't gonna... It all ties in together, right, at the end. If we're just isolating Doug's situation, then that's his reality of what's going on and how he gets into the good place and the bad place. But we know... because we have the knowledge of the good place and the bad place, and Sean and all of this other stuff, Michael and Janet
are we
telling us...
taking Sean's, Doug Forsyth is definitely going to the bad place thing as concrete fact?
Well, that's exactly it, because how can you trust him?
Assuming the worst of people.
Exactly, how can you trust him? He's a demon. He could be setting up an entire thing to track Michael and Janet off of... Which is why they kick him off and be like, we don't want to listen to him anymore, because do we really want to trust a demon?
If that's true, okay, but I still think that Doug Forcett probably is headed to the bad place because he's had the wrong, motivation.
Sure.
And, even if he hasn't, seen... Because I think, honestly, in his mind, he has seen the proof.
Sure.
In his hallucination, he saw the proof. So I think fundamentally, I don't think it is a question of, faith versus... Well, maybe it is a question of faith versus knowledge. But I think, as much as the Soul Squad can be certain that they died, and they know what the afterlife holds, I think he has as much certainty and as much proof on his side.
Sure,
so I think if they are beholden to risk of not being able to survive, of not being able to have their actions count for anything, I think he is in the exact same position, regardless of whether he is, doing good in the world, regardless of whether regardless of whether he hasn't had an angel literally tell him, no, you are correct. Yeah, okay. I think they're coming from the same place.
I get it. I can 100% get on board with that as well.
I'm going to trim out so much of this.
Oh, no, we have been going off on a total tangent, yeah.
I will say one thing. I agree with Kieran, mostly, except, outside of the show, I agree with Kieran, absolutely. But then I'm so surprised that Michael didn't bring it up in the episode. I thought that's what he was going to say, is yes, there's a problem with the system, and I'm so glad they went there, but, I thought he was going to bring up, at the end, oh, no, because Doug's doing it only for points, he's not going to get in the good place. Because Michael didn't bring that up, that's the only thing that makes me hesitate and think, oh, maybe that's not going to be a plot point. Maybe,
yeah.
Yeah, maybe Anusha's right.
Okay. Here's what I want to talk about.
Okay.
The point system.
Yes.
In general.
Yes.
It was discussed here because, there's a specific accountant.
Yeah.
Female accountant.
Woman of colour accountant. Yeah.
Vicky's evil twin.
Yes. Oh my god. Can I please play Vicky's evil twin?
Anusha, the accountant.
Yes.
But yeah.
Oh, my mum would be so proud.
What you said, Soly, about Michael not bringing it up because maybe there's another issue at play, made me think that potentially with Doug Forsett's way of living, there is a positive point total to any good action you do and a negative point value to any negative thing you do, right? That's a fundamental rule. How much it is, how much that's up for debate, for each action, because we don't know for most things. But, we know there is a certain amount of, subjectivity to it. Not in terms of, judging how bad something is, but in terms of whether something is bad. Because someone... there was a thing if you're born in France, you're going to the bad place because being born in France is a negative thing. Which, again, it's a joke, it's played for laughs, it is a funny thing. But if we think of that as, a fundamental way that this works, the point totals were set up by someone, maybe the accountant, maybe, some god figure, saying, these are good things, these are bad things, with no room for debate.
Yeah.
So it's possible, this is sort of a two-part thing. One, there's the general idea of, whatever prejudices whoever set up the system has, those come into play. So, back in the 50s and 60s, being gay would give you negative point values, whereas I don't think anyone would say that, at least no one who's working on the show would suggest that today.
Yeah.
And I think, on the other hand, there is also the possibility, on a lighter note, self-care might give you positive point totals.
Ah.
So by intentionally making things hard for yourself and never giving yourself like the benefit of the doubt, never like taking care of your own body, that might also have negative point values. Because like I could imagine within the world of the show, the idea of like consuming a gross hot dog would be negative point values, whereas eating a carrot is positive values, right?
Right.
And so on the one hand, yes, there's the general like, is it good for the environment? Is it good for the world? Is it like good for the animals? Yada yada yada.
Yeah.
It's also possible that somewhere in there is you are eating something that is bad for you versus you are eating something that's good for you. I don't know if that's the case because they haven't said it, but I can imagine if we're going with the idea that maybe Doug Forcett isn't doomed because of his intentions, maybe he's doomed for some other reason. I can imagine that being a thing where if you're a happiness pump, the happiness you put out in the world is a positive, but your own like miserableness is a negative.
It's a negative value, yeah.
Especially if like people know that you're out there and they feel a little bit bad about themselves because of how good you're doing and how bad you make them feel.
I'm starting to think that this entire point system was set up by someone who was intrinsically just wanting to play with a system that they thought would be fun to see what would happen. Right? Like, there was actual no intent behind it. But they just wanted to be like, what if I did this and did this? Like, yeah, and I'm going to push this button, and I want to see for a millennia what the results of this experiment is going to be like. And that's the entirety reason behind why this even exists in the first place.
Anusha, you, just lended more credibility to my crazy theory of alternate universe. Because...
Okay.
Hang on, I do want to point out, your original theory wasn't alternate universes. Your original theory was time travel.
Lots of nested neighborhoods.
Wait.
Wait, what did you say, Kieran?
Your original theory wasn't alternate universes, it was time travel.
Yeah. So, are you setting up another theory now?
Amongst each other. I said, between timelines.
No. You have to be very specific. You were talking about time travel, not the multiverse.
I think it's all together.
No. Time travel is not...
Happened.
Time travel has nothing to do with the multiverse.
No, well, actually, no. I am with Soly there. I do, like, it's the classic Back to the Future 3 lines thing. There's, like, the original timeline, and there's the branching timeline, and there's the timeline that you restore it to.
Yeah.
So, like, I can understand how time travel is, rather than actually traveling in time, it's traveling to a different version of reality. I can understand
but
that.
That's totally different.
But I'm just saying that was not what was discussed.
Yeah. You were talking about traveling to a different multiverse.
Soly, we will stop interrupting you. You say what you wanted to say.
Yes, please.
They mentioned it before, right? Like,
yeah.
that they could be, like, Michael could just be created by something bigger, who was created by something bigger, who was created by something bigger.
Yeah.
Like, I totally think that maybe the resolution to this crazy plot and system is that they find out that there's different, universes and different Earths where they use different systems, and then they're just trying to figure out which one's the best one.
I mean, that's freaking crazy, and I love it. Yay for crazy fan theories.
Yay! Well, your crazy fan theory got resolved and you were right. So now you need to move on to another one.
Yeah,
so that's
well,
your one. And my spin on it is that there's, traveling between.
Yeah, I'm still waiting to see what my good place people are doing.
Yeah.
That's what I'm waiting for now. I feel like I've really gotten the hang of how the show works, though.
Yes, you're doing very well, Anusha.
Thanks.
Oh.
This entire episode is just a big ego stroke for me.
It's time for the good word.
So we checked into our Airbnb today, and then I turned on the TV, and there were two remotes, so it took a really long time for me to figure out what to do. And then when I finally turned it on, I noticed that at the bottom of one of the remotes, it said Netflix, and then I pushed Netflix, and then someone named Steven had a signed-in account, and then we clicked on Steven, and the Netflix worked, and so we have free Netflix from Steven. Yay!
Thanks, Steven.
Shout out!
Your points have just gone up.
Steven's points have gone up. Your points have gone down, though,
yeah,
Soly,
I'll say.
for using someone else's Netflix.
But my friend took a picture of his email, and so we were thinking of emailing him and being like, thank you, and can we? But then I voted her down, so then I think my points...
I think that would be significantly creepier. Please like and share this episode. You can find us on iTunes and SoundCloud, and you can email us on goodchatpod@gmail.com. Our old episodes are on our Good Chat YouTube channel.
A big thank you to Jonathan Vanderhorn for composing our intro music.
You've been listening to The Good Chat.